Welcome to your weekly update. It's April 22nd, 4 p.m. And in this video, we're just gonna run through what's happened on the Homestead build this week. So we'll start right here. I'll show you a few other things and we'll wrap it all up. So if you wanna see all my daily vlogs, I do vlog every day. They're up at fromthefield.tv. You can go check it out there. You can sign up for 7 days, no commitment, and just try it out. If you don't like it, you can cancel, no big deal. So that's where I post all my vlogs. So today we're gonna talk about starting with our chicken coop. We've been building this for about 3 days. One of the guys, Mitchell's been working on this, and he's been going back and forth between construction and some other stuff that I have him doing and this. And so we're almost done. The chickens are at a stage where they can really only be in their little pen for another week, and they're gonna go in this coop, and we're gonna put this out in the field. And as we make our way through the things I'm gonna show you in this video, we'll end up down there along the way, and I'll show you where we're gonna put our chickens. But yeah, it's a mobile coop. It's not totally finished. We gotta put the skis on the ground of it that are where they're gonna touch the ground, some treated lumber. And we've got, this is gonna be like a maintenance hatch. Just you open up and you can get in there and clean it all out. Other than that, this will stay closed. Slanted roof, tons of ventilation. This will all be just like we have here with 1/4-inch mesh all around. And we'll have our straw and stuff down here for the chickens. Back there, at this part here, this is gonna be the hatch that opens for them. And we're actually gonna get one of those solar powered hatches that just every time the sun comes up, it opens so that we don't have to go and let the chickens out every day. Then there'll be a ramp down there. And then on the sides here, these will flip up, and this is on both sides, opposite ends, and we can, this is where they have their little pens where we can grab their eggs. So yeah, that's exciting. And we've got another 20 birds coming that are a month ahead of the ones we have. And so we will eventually be bringing them all together, and they'll be outside very soon. It's been a really cold week, just like last, getting down to -5 this week Celsius, but it seems like that's the end of it. I haven't done anything in the outside gardens yet at all because it's just been too damn cold, but there is a lot of action in the nursery, and we'll go check that out now. So we're in the greenhouse here, and well, might as well kind of start here, chickens. See, they're getting pretty big. They've got really only another week in here, and then we're gonna move them into that coop. And when we go outside, I'll show you guys where they're gonna go. So there's not really much else to talk about them. Pretty sure I had this planted last week. What's new right now is got about 54 apple trees here. And actually we have another 6 that we didn't finish. So we got about 60 apple trees that I went and harvested from my co-op farm in Kelowna. And they were rogue trees, and actually we don't know what they are fully. We think they might be a gala, but apparently with galas, if they reroot somewhere else or seeds go from them, they don't necessarily end up as galas. But all I really need these for is rootstock. So I'm gonna be establishing probably over 100 trees on the property here this year. Nut trees, hazelnuts, chestnuts, walnuts. What else do we have? That's all I can think of right now. But trees, we've got multiple varieties of apple. We've got cherry trees. We've got some nectarines. We've got some plums. And a whole bunch of woody perennials too, like raspberries, golden raspberries, everbearing raspberries, goji berries, sea buckthorn berries. A lot of those are still in here and growing. But we'll have a lot of perennial stuff going in the garden this year. And when we go out to where that's gonna go, I'll kind of show you what's going on with that, because the chickens are gonna be part of that area as well. And yeah, as far as the garden goes, I seeded some stuff last week. Spinach is up, has popped up. And I've got a bunch of transplants up here that we will be putting into these garden beds right away. I've got some broccolinis, some more kale, some various different types of herbs. Some peppers will go right into these beds. And yeah, that's about it for the greenhouse. So we're here in this part of my, call it, well, it's not really the garden, but it's part of the inner core of our property There's a half-acre area here. I'm kind of standing at the ridge of it, and it goes down a bit. This is all south facing. And there's another area over here that goes up towards where our intensive vegetable gardens will be. This is where we're gonna run our chickens and plant all of our perennials. So not all of them, but a lot of them. So a lot of trees are gonna come in here, fruit trees, nut trees. I'm gonna take some of these crappy old diseased fir trees down. And I'm gonna try to leave as much of what is on the land as possible. My plan is, if I can hand dig the holes, I will, for the trees, because they're mostly small, and I'll be wrapping them in a hardware cloth on the bottom, and then at least 2 feet out of the ground, so that field mice and voles don't destroy them. And I've been trapping them for a long time now too, proactively for 2 years or for 2 seasons now, and it's been fairly effective, but I want to make sure that I don't lose a ton of trees. So I'll be hand digging in things that I can, but then I've got the mini excavator for some areas that are just too gnarly. I mean, you can look at the ground here. It's rocky. There's good soil here, but it is rocky, and it drains well though too. So it's actually, and it's south exposed, so it should be a perfect climate for perennial tree crops. Up here on this other little ledge over here, or this area over here, I'm going to be putting some grapevines, and I'll be running them along sort of on contour, maybe going down slope a little bit. But that is a really nice southeast exposure there, which would be a perfect place to grow grapes. So our chicken tractor, it's not really a chicken tractor per se, but our chicken coop that we looked at there, the idea with that coop is that I can lift it with the skid steer, or 4 to 6 guys can lift it and move it. You know, I would have loved to build a proper chicken tractor, but look at the ground I'm on. I can't just have a chicken tractor with wheels on it, and then 2 guys lift it up and roll it. It doesn't work with my landscape. So we're either gonna move it with a bunch of people, or the skid steer can come and lift it. I wouldn't want to run the skid steer in here right now. The ground's a bit too sensitive. It'll just make a mess. But we'll see. To place it, we're going to place it up towards the construction site on this part of the garden and have the chickens just roam in here. We've got some 4-foot fencing we're going to put around in maybe a 1/5 of an acre area, and just let them roam there for a little while. We'll see how that goes. But I'll probably wait another week or so before I put the trees in the ground. I just want to see how the next week of weather goes. If it stays like it has been the last 2 days, it's finally turning around. Had a lot of rain the other day, and that's usually a good sign, because with a lot of rain, at least in our climate here, with a lot of rain, that means that your ambient low temperature is rising. So it might feel cold, you know, it might be 2 or 3 degrees Celsius when it's raining, but your nighttime temperature comes up and no longer goes below freezing or just below freezing. So if I can see that for another week, then I'll feel confident enough to start bringing some of the hardier trees out here. I wouldn't put any of the sensitive stuff. I think I do have some peaches I want to try. I don't think I'll put those out right away, but I'll put the apples out. I won't put the cherries out just yet. I can put my raspberries out. I could put goji berries out. Some of the nut trees I could put out too, but that's what we'll start with. But again, I'll wait another week to see how the weather goes. Most of my week has been spent in construction and just running errands. I had 2 days this week when all I did was run around to get things or run little errands for my 4 different guys working. So I have one guy who's kind of a flexible guy. He can do all kinds of stuff. He does a lot of stuff in the gardens and the greenhouse, and will do a lot of stuff on the farm with animals with me. And then I've got 3 guys on construction. And those 3 guys pretty much just stay on construction, but the flex guy, he can go on construction if we need, and I can step into construction if we need. And so that's what really happened a lot this week. I was running, doing errands. I was doing construction. I did knock out a number of little errand projects that I had to do up here, like some stuff in my office and garage and things like that. But I had one whole day of just going to get supplies. So It's been a lot of back and forth, but the weather's been cold, so it hasn't really justified my need to just jump into the outdoor gardening stuff yet. So I haven't needed to do that. It's kind of been serendipitous, actually. We've been packing sand at the construction site, and we've had rain the last 2 days, and we've been packing sand into the footings of the foundation, which is fantastic. It's very serendipitous, actually, because you need to put water on it to pack it really good. So we've had that water happening, and that's been perfect. So what we've done at the construction is we have totally finished the footing, the primary footing, and there's another support wall in there. It's totally packed full of sand now. Everything is stripped off. We're now ready, which on Monday next week, we'll be starting on the ICF blocks, the insulated concrete forms. And we start by laying these steel tracks down on both sides of each forms, and then that gets our base, and then we start sticking the forms in there from there, and then tying them together, and then just stacking Lego. So it's going to be really interesting to see how quick it goes. I've been really excited about using these ICFs for quite some time, because they do have a huge benefit in construction in that you're just pouring concrete. So for an entire level of our house, we don't have to do any framing. And so that removes a lot of work, because once we have our good foundation to work from, we're just stacking Lego blocks essentially, and it should go fairly quick. And then we'll put some rebar in there, tie that all together, and then pour concrete. And then once that's poured, you've essentially accomplished what a completely framed floor would be, with insulation, with vapor barrier, and we also have to cut out our window holes before we pour the concrete, of course, and we put these little window frames in. But you essentially accomplish a huge amount of work in a very short period of time. And the cost is quite interesting. Those ICFs to do this entire floor, this is 1,400 square feet, cost about $9,000 Canadian total. The concrete to pour that will be, according to our calculations, which will be very close to what our footing was as far as square footage, will be about $8,000. So it's really neat to think that for, call it $17,000, you have an entire floor with framing, insulation, and vapor barrier done. Now, when it comes to doing the electrical and all that, it's actually quite easy too, because we have a special tool. It's like a hot knife, and it has a little loop in it, and you run it through the insulation, and it goes pretty quick. The insulation is 3 inches thick on both sides of the walls. It's R40. You just cut through it, and it's way faster than boring holes through studs like traditional framing. And so you do the same thing for the plumbing and the electrical. Not all some of the plumbing will go in the floor, which would be the technically ceiling of the downstairs, and also we still have to put in some of our plumbing groundworks in that sand as well. But it's going to make it a lot simpler. So it will be really interesting to see how the bottom floor squares up to the top floor, because I was tempted to do the top floor with ICFs as well, just seeing how quickly this will go together. But again, we'll see next week. But I've already purchased the lumber, so to go and do the next floor ICFs and have the lumber might be kind of insane. So I might not do that. But if I don't, and I do it stick framing, it'll be really interesting to see in a couple weeks from now, basically, what the costs were to frame a floor versus doing a floor with concrete. Because lumber is so inflated, concrete isn't really that inflated right now. In fact, it's about where it has been for the last little while. So it'll be interesting to see how those compare. So I'm going to leave it at this vlog here for now, folks. And again, if you want to see these videos with me daily, I do vlog. It's basically me filming every day on the farm. That's all up at From the Field. So if you want to check that out, head there. Again, there's a 7-day free trial. If you sign up for that, you have no commitment after. If you want to cancel after 7 days, no problem. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.